Check, check, check. We're back here in the building. I got Ani. We're out here. Ava Health. What do you know? Ani. No, I'm just kidding. That's not the intro.
Roman.
How are you?
I'm great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Introduce yourself to the people out there.
So my name's Ani. I'm the director of admissions here at Ava Health.
Woo, woo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, have you worked in behavioral health?
I have.
How long have you worked in it?
For about 7 years or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Had a career change and came into behavioral health, and
Switching it up.
yeah, that's exactly why. No, I mean, I think it's always something that was, part of, how I grew up, and everything that I saw, and just my experience, and I thought this feels right. This is who I am. This is what I know. This is what I understand.
Yeah, I feel like oftentimes that's what brings people to this industry.
Mm-hmm.
I've yet to really meet somebody that was like, well, I was in school and I didn't know what to do, and I figured, behavioral health sounds fun.
Why not? Let me go to this hot mess.
Yeah.
When I burn out, why not?
Yeah, usually there's some story behind it. But you mentioned a career change. What were you doing before?
So I used to work in fashion, actually.
Okay.
A little bit in sales.
A little different.
Yeah, very, very different. And then I started, going to therapy, and that was probably the biggest.
Was that the thing?
That was the thing. Not right away, actually. Okay. The first therapist I saw for about like 6 months, and I remember one day I just said, "Hey, I don't know what it is about this, but I just love coming to this room." And she said, "I think I know what it is." And I said, I would probably love to do this, but this doesn't, it just feels so far away. And she said,
Right.
Why? She's like, you'd be great at this. And I just remember thinking, oh, it's so big. I'd have to go back to school. Like,
Right.
a big fear of mine. I don't know anybody that, went through, got their bachelor's. No one in my family did. And my uncle got his AA, but that was about it. And I always thought, he's a genius, forget it.
Right.
And, second therapist I went to, right before that, I started going back to school, and it was,
So you took the leap of faith?
I did, but it was because I was with someone I loved dearly, and I was in a relationship with someone that had addiction to heroin. And I saw what that looked like. But also in his recovery, when he was, clean and sober, pushed me to go back to school. And
wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So you got to witness it kind of firsthand, and that was maybe the thing that led to this door opening in your life, and here you are now, 7 years later.
Yeah.
You feel like it was the right choice?
I do.
Okay.
I do, 100%. I mean, there's so many things I love, and other careers that I've probably, entertained, but I always come back here and I just think this is who I am. Like, it's a part of me.
Yeah.
It's what I understand. It's what I know. And not just growing up, even just years of being in therapy, years of being in Al-Anon,
Yeah.
Years of being with someone,
right.
And seeing what that looks like.
Yeah.
And, growing up with, parents, with fathers that, and grandfather that were addicts, and how debilitating that can be. And
that firsthand experience. I ask people often when I interview that work in this industry, what's your favorite part of working in behavioral health?
I'll probably say it's the excitement behind it, but I don't know if it's necessarily a good excitement. And I know that sounds awful. It's because,
Explain.
I don't think I ever had, a lot of normalcy growing up, routine.
Yeah.
And I'm used to that. And once you become an adult, yes, you yearn for that. And in my personal life, I now have routine and I yearn for that.
Right.
But I don't think I'll ever be 100%, a person that, okay, I have routine, I have this normalcy. I can't. I've known what I've known for years. And there's comfort in that.
It's part of you.
And there's comfort in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mhm.
What a fascinating answer. I haven't heard that one yet.
Yeah.
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 So you said director of admissions. What is that? What do you do? What does that mean?
I like to call admissions sort of like, the emergency room in a hospital. They sort of,
Okay.
I've heard people talk about it in that way, just because it's the first place you come in
Oh,
when
yeah.
you say,
Yeah.
hey, I think I may need to,
Get some
stay
help.
here
Yeah.
or not, or
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. I,
Yeah.
need some help. And it sort of looks like that. And sometimes it's, by choice, and sometimes not so much.
Mm-hmm.
And so admissions is that first person that you're calling and you're interacting with, whether it's the client, whether it's a referral. And, it sort of sets the tone of what it's going to look like,
Mm.
in treatment
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah, you're really the first stop on
Mhm.
someone's journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And someone's experience in admissions is a big deal,
True.
because
Yeah.
that's sort of, this is what it looks like. A bad experience can sort of lead you to think that's probably going to be the same experience I'm going to get when I, admit,
Yeah.
and that's not necessarily true, but it is a real big deal when, you have that first
For
phone
sure.
call,
For sure.
because, in a way, depending where you're at, maybe you feel like you're in a calm state, you've maybe called a few times and then you go, okay, for real, this time I'm calling, this is what I'm doing. Or sometimes you're not you're feeling like in crisis. And
Right.
so whoever is on that other line, it's a big deal.
Yeah, I feel like maybe it's probably a lot of crisis, right, that
Yes.
you're dealing with.
Yeah.
And that could be stressful, I imagine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's part of the understanding that, when I go back, we're like, why do you do this? Well, I understand. I understand people being in crisis. I understand, the roller coaster, feeling that, the up and down
Yeah.
that someone's experiencing. And it's funny, just because growing up seeing that, it sort of gave me this calmness. And
Right.
so on the outside, when someone's speaking to me, and whether it's on a phone call or just in person, I can be extremely calm,
Mm.
because I've been in spaces where it's, things are a little wild,
Yeah.
and I've had to maintain that calmness.
Mm.
And so it's a little bit, I sort of love that, even though inside I always say I'm like Bugs
Right.
Bunny on the moon. And
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah. But that's got to be such a superpower almost
Yes.
that you have that maybe a lot of other people don't have, and it allows you to be maybe more effective in working with people, especially those who are in crisis.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's awesome.
I think we do well, or we're at our best with things that we love to do, but there's a reason behind that.
Mm.
So it's like, if
Yeah.
if you say, I love playing tennis, it's probably because, you're pretty good at it, or you've gotten really
Right,
good at it,
right.
or you're like, I like this, I want to get really good at this
Mhm.
thing. And so there's something in that. And so I think that's another piece to it. I'm good at this,
Yeah.
because I understand it. I've known it all my life,
And you love it.
and I love it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So, Grand Junction, Colorado. It's far from home.
It is. Yeah.
Why here? Why now?
I think I've been in what looks like that corporate setting, but that, sort of that behavioral setting that you're seeing a lot, throughout the country, unfortunately,
Yeah,
where you almost forget what you're doing, why you're doing it,
yeah, Yeah.
you almost sort of lie to yourself and say, well, we're helping people,
yeah, yeah.
and, but it becomes so corporate.
Mm.
And you're really forgetting purpose, to its core, like the deep, deep purpose to its core. And I left something like that. Like, I'm no longer a part of that. And as soon as I, started, looking around and, was being recruited, and speaking with other people, I thought, oh, I might just head back to that. And I, saw Ava Health, went into the website, ended up interviewing with Ian, our COO.
Yeah.
And there's this comfort in that. I absolutely loved him. And there was also a fear in that. Because I thought, man, this is real. Like, this is something different. This is deep.
Yeah.
And, I had a recent loss, and I thought, this might be too soon. It's sort of like a really good movie that, it's going to be impactful,
Yeah.
and maybe in a way it's going to bring you back to your trauma, but it's also going to, give you a new perspective and, wake you up. And so you kind of refrain from watching it.
Yeah,
You're like,
maybe not.
I don't know if
maybe
I
not
could do
now.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then when you do, you're like, I should have watched that sooner. And that's how I felt, just coming into.
Sounds kind of like when you decide to go back to school.
Yes, just like
A little
that.
fearful, but
Absolutely.
made the leap anyway.
Yep, absolutely. And then you think, why didn't I do that sooner?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And now here you are.
And here I am now.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Thank you. I appreciate you sharing more about yourself and sharing with them. And looking forward to working together.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Same here.
Yeah. Ava Health. You heard it here.
Hello, Ava Health.